Well, welcome back to our channel. Notice I said our channel because my wife's helping me because I need her help. She's always helping me, which is a good thing. So last time we got on here, we talked about the all the rules and how people think we have a lot of rules, but we only have 5 rules per se. They're called the precepts of the Catholic Church. You remember the 5 precepts of the Catholic Church?
Going to Mass every Sunday.
That's one.
During the holiday of obligation.
That's part of it. Yep, that's still one.
And go to reconciliations during Lent.
Okay, that's 2.
And then go to receive the Holy Communion.
That's 3. When?
During Easter. And then that's 3, right?
That's 3.
And then 4th is the fasting and abstinence. And then the 5th one is the almsgiving.
Right. Provide for the needs of the church. Okay. So those are the what we call the 5 precepts. So we were talking last time, and we were supposed to do this last week, but yeah, didn't happen. So that's why we're here today. And what we're going to do is talk about why we should be energized when we go to Mass, and why it's not really, it shouldn't be considered like a bad thing because, you know, we're asked to go every Sunday and every holy day of obligation. We had a priest once that said, instead of saying obligation, we should say opportunity. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. We should attend Mass as often as we can. So why do you think we should go to Mass every Sunday and every holy day of obligation?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because prayer in the daily living and every day-to-day things that we do, we need prayers. Going to Mass, that's help you to concentrate in prayers. Basically, that's the totality of prayers by going to Mass.
Okay.
Because you at Mass, you do the adoration, and you do the confession when we do the
Penitential rite.
penitential rite, and then the Thanksgiving, and then forget the other one because it consists of acts, ACTS, adoration. I just mentioned it. Confession, Thanksgiving, and supplication.
Good job. Awesome. So, but a lot of people, when they watch a Catholic Mass, or they never been to a Catholic Mass, or they're what I like to commonly call the C&Es, because I used to be one, Christmas and Easter. You know, it's the only time I used to really go. They think it's nothing more than Catholic calisthenics. You know, and we're programmed, and you come in and you kneel, and then you sit, then you kneel, then sit, stand, bow. You know, for a lot of people, it seems kind of boring. So how do we get people energized besides thinking about just the rubrics of it? You know, so you mentioned a couple things. So, and you use that acronym ACTS. So you're talking about adoration and confession, which is not to be confused with the sacrament of reconciliation. Okay, you still have. We'll talk about that one later. Thanksgiving and supplication, which is all true and correct. But how do you get people energized about going to the Mass? You know, what does that mean? You know, we get to go adore God, and we get to go adore Christ. What's the big deal about that? Why would we want to go to a Mass, and how do we participate? I guess is what I'm saying. How do you fully participate in Mass? So, like, I'm a deacon, so my participation is a little bit different now than what it used to be when I was sitting next to you in the pews. But we still participate.
At Mass, you have to understand that you have to give everything your attentions. You can't be reserved. To fully participate, it means your heart, your mind, your soul, directly towards to God. That's active participation. And I can understand that sometimes our mind are wandering, especially when the person walk in front of us, or we hear noises, or things that we forgot. Oh my goodness, I forgot. I have to do this, but I will do it after Mass. To really give your participation just to God, nothing else, because that's the essence for me when I go to Mass. That's the time, that only 1 hour, that I have to be focused on that. And I have, if I start wondering, I have to shift and go back to that, what I need to focus on, which is the reason why sometimes I go sit on the front, because I can see the altar directly, and I'll be able to focus my mind and just to sit. And I know there's sometimes that we have to watch someone, especially if we have our children with us, but does not mean that they are not focusing on the Mass. It will be because it's probably just giving attentions that a person's right beside them if they really need help, which is okay with that. But sometimes we feel boring because our minds are wander.
And then that's the interesting thing. Sometimes when people think I'm going to talk about the Mass, they want me to go through all the rubrics and all. That's not what this particular video is going to be about. There's plenty of videos out there where you can view that. Mass is separated between the liturgy of the Word and the liturgy of the Eucharist, so that's important to understand. But we want to go and be energized with Mass, and we want to come in there with excitement, and like what you're saying is to focus fully on what's happening at that particular moment, because it's building a relationship, right? The only way you can truly build a relationship is if you're truly participating in that relationship. And if you're not participating in that relationship, it's never going to grow. So consider your relationship with a friend. If you're only seeing your friend for maybe 45 minutes a week, that relationship's not going to grow. And especially if you're not doing anything throughout the week, like your prayers and trying to grow in understanding. And I hear it all the time. Well, it gets boring. We hear the same stuff. The homilies are terrible. I used this morning, for example, not that the homily was terrible. It wasn't terrible. The homily was great. Remember, I had to go see Father Jim over there at Our Lady of Lourdes up in Raleigh this morning. Father Jim's my spiritual director. He's awesome. But anyways, that's a shout out for him. So we get over there, and there's 440 kids going to that school. And that church was full. And you can see from the various levels, whether it's from the kindergarten all the way through to their highest grade, which I believe was 8th grade. But if you could see that there was participation and the excitement, especially with the little ones. The little ones were like yearning to get more. And what does the gospel tell us, right? Let the little ones come unto me. That's what Jesus said. So there's this participation, there's this anticipation, if you will, that they get to go to Mass every Friday, and the Annunciation does this as well. They go to Mass every Friday, where they get an opportunity to understand more and grow in this faith. And it's just, I can't stop saying that enough. If you're not participating, like you mentioned, having time for prayer before Mass, participating with our responses at Mass, understanding how to grow in our relationship with God, the Mass will always be boring. But once you realize that you're actually in a very intimate and personal relationship with God at Mass, how exciting it really is. Because you get to hear His words, and then more importantly, you get to receive Him in the Most Holy Eucharist. And you can't get any more intimate than that. So how do I continue to grow is by actually participating more. And you try every week to try something different to fully realize that participation. There should be an excitement when we go to Mass. Not I have to go to Mass. It should be exciting. You should want to go to Mass. Just like when you were dating, you wanted to go on that date. You wanted to be with that person. It's the same thing when we come to the Mass. We want to be with God. And we want to learn more and come to know Him more and to love Him more, because He loves us more than we could ever love Him. And that's the goal, is to grow our love with Him, for Him. And the only way that's going to happen is if I get to know Him And how do I get to know him? Is by that active participation in Mass in my prayers throughout the week. Pretty simple rule. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just, well, I would like to say it's practice. It might be, if this is the first time that you're going to Mass for 12 months, maybe you only go once a month, or maybe when things are, schedule is okay, then you go up. It's anything happen that you cannot explain it, and then you need all those prayers, and then we go to Mass. And that's what when I really meant to say about the acts, because not only going to Mass because you are in need of prayers, you can go to Mass because you also need to give thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, to worship, to adore the one who love you the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, for me, it's just like anything that you have to put, one of those things that you put in a calendar, but then you forgot to read it, and then you forget that you have to do that. Now it becomes a routine when you go to Mass every Sunday, when you try to go to Mass every Sunday. And then next thing you know, you're yearning for more. You're looking for more. You need more. You want to get to know more that person. And that's me. The more I go to church, the more I want to know about my God.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're I guess trying to get across. Why we say this is a simple rule to follow, but more importantly, we shouldn't consider it a rule. We should consider it more of something that we want to do, not because we're being forced to do it. We want to come to know Him more, and we want to come to love Him more, because that's what our future entails, is spend all eternity with God. Hopefully, that's what we want, right? And so the only way that can happen is if we truly are learning and loving Him more and more. So, we're trying to keep these videos a little short, because I know the attention span sometimes can be a little groggy, I guess is a good way of saying it. So don't look at trying to go to Mass just for following a priest or a bishop or a deacon because you think their homilies are great. You go to Mass because you want to come to know and love God more, and that's the most important thing. And like Amy said, sometimes there's going to be distractions, but that's okay. You just go ahead and work through those distractions, and then you continue to grow. And before you know it, you come to realize you don't want to miss a Sunday. You want to go more and more. So with that, we hope that you have enjoyed this little video. We hope that you learned a little bit more about why we want to go to Mass. And please be assured of our prayers for everyone. And we ask that you please keep us in your prayers as well.
And also, I want to add to this, try not to go to Mass late. If you can go 15 minutes early or 30 minutes early, and don't rush to leave after Mass. You need those blessings.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can just, have a quiet time after Mass to pray, that will be awesome too. And the reason why I'm saying, because I practice it, and it helps me a lot by attending Mass more and more.
I agree. All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us on our channel, and we hope you have a wonderful week. And we're going to try to do this again next Friday. And as Archbishop Fulton Sheen used to always say, God love you.